My wife secretly sold our family home for $400, $0 behind my back to fund her affair with our neighbor, then filed bogus lawsuit claiming I stole $200, $0 from her. Now I don't know what's real or how to fight for my inheritance. Hello everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons, with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. I never thought I'd be the guy to catch his wife cheating, especially not in the way I did. It's like you hear about this stuff happening to other people and you think, not my wife, not my life. But then one day, everything changes in a way that hits you so hard you can't breathe. Her name. We met when I was in my late 20s and she was just a little younger. At first, she seemed perfect, smart, funny, ambitious. We got married after a couple of years of dating, bought a nice house in the suburbs, and everything looked like it was falling into place. I thought I had it all. A good job, a loving wife, a future we'd build together. That was until I started noticing little things, her phone ringing at odd hours, her being secretive about her messages, and the way she'd get defensive if I ever asked about her whereabouts. At first, I brushed it off. Maybe she was stressed, or maybe I was just paranoid. But then she started acting more distant, less interested in intimacy, and I caught her lying about where she was going. That's when I really started paying attention. I found her phone one night when she left it on the kitchen counter, something she usually kept in her purse. I saw a text from someone named Jake that said, "Can't wait to see you tonight, I've missed you." My stomach dropped. I knew Jake. He was our neighbor, a guy I'd always considered a decent, if slightly arrogant, dude. But somehow, I never thought he'd be involved with my wife. I looked through her messages, and the more I read, the worse it got. She was planning to meet him later that week, and she was excited about it. She was lying to me about going out with friends, saying she was at yoga or some bullshit. That was the moment I realized everything I thought about my marriage was a lie. I felt sick. I confronted her the next day, asking her point blank about Jake. She everything called me paranoid, said I was reading too much into things, that I was imagining it all. But I could see the guilt in her eyes. She was lying, plain and simple. I wasn't stupid. I knew she was cheating on me, and I knew she had been for some time. What made it even worse was the way she acted afterward, bitchy, dismissive, like I was the crazy one. She told me I was overreacting, that I was insecure, that I was ruining everything. But I wasn't just paranoid, I had proof. That's when my world started to tilt. I didn't know what to do. I felt betrayed, angry, and completely lost. How could the woman I loved do this to me? And I had no idea how deep her deception went. After that confrontation, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus at work. All I kept thinking about was how she lied so easily, how she could look me in the eye and deny everything when I had the evidence right there. I started digging more into her phone, her emails, her social media, anything that could give me a clearer picture of what she was up to. That's when I stumbled upon the real shocker. She had been secretly selling our house. Not just talking about it, but actually doing it behind my back. I found the listing on a shady real estate site. Our family home, the place I thought was our sanctuary, was listed for sale for $400, $0. She had arranged everything, meeting with buyers, signing documents without me. I couldn't believe it. She was selling our home, our life together, to fund her affair with Jake. That was the moment I realized how deep her betrayal went. I was furious. I mean, I knew she was cheating, but this. Selling our house, our future, without telling me. That was a whole new level of manipulation. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I started to question everything. Did she do this just to get money to keep seeing Jake? Was she planning to leave me? All I knew was that I had to find out the full story and stop her before she did something even more destructive. I decided I had to confront her again, but this time with everything laid out. I waited until she got home from work, then showed her the listing. Her reaction was priceless. She looked stunned, then pissed off. She tried to deny it at first, saying she was just exploring options, that I was overreacting, that I didn't understand her needs. But I had the proof, screenshots, emails, her signature on the sale documents. There was no denying it anymore. She snapped at me, calling me paranoid, accusing me of spying on her, saying I was trying to control her. She told me I was imagining things, that I was insecure because I didn't trust her, but I knew better. I could see the lies in her eyes. She was lying about the sale, about the affair, about everything. I felt a mix of rage and heartbreak. How could she do this? How could she betray me so completely? I started to realize I was dealing with someone who was willing to destroy everything we built just to chase her own selfish desires. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything I'd uncovered. My mind was racing about the house, her affair, her lies. I felt betrayed, but also betrayed by myself for not seeing it sooner. My trust was shattered. I wondered if I could ever look at her the same way again. I knew I had to do something, but I had no idea what yet. All I knew was that my life was about to change forever. Over the next few days, the pieces kept falling into place, and I realized just how much she'd been manipulating everything. She was good at hiding her tracks, but her lies were starting to unravel. I found out she'd been secretly withdrawing money from our joint account, about $50, $0 over the last few months. She claimed it was for personal expenses, but I could see that she'd been funneling it into her own account, probably to fund her affair and the house sale. The worst part was that she had somehow managed to get a lawyer involved, filing paperwork for the sale of our house, and even starting a bogus lawsuit claiming I had stolen $200, $0 from her. She told everyone I was a thief, that I'd been secretly siphoning money from her, trying to ruin her reputation. It was all a lie, but the legal papers were real, and I was suddenly caught in a mess I didn't understand. I didn't even know how to fight back against something so complex and malicious. I decided I needed to get some legal advice. I reached out to a lawyer, and she confirmed what I suspected, that she'd been planning this for a while. The sale of the house, the lawsuit, the withdrawal of money. It was all part of her scheme to cut me out and start fresh with Jake. I was furious. How could she do this? How could she destroy everything we had built just for some guy? I couldn't believe she'd be so cold, so calculating. Meanwhile, she kept up the act of being the victim. She told everyone she was the wronged wife, that I was abusive, that I stole from her, that I was trying to ruin her life. She lied so convincingly that even some friends started to doubt me. I felt like I was fighting a battle on multiple fronts, trying to clear my name, stop her from selling the house, and figure out how to get my inheritance back. It was overwhelming. I was drowning in confusion and anger. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every time I saw her, I saw a stranger, someone capable of so much deceit. I started questioning everything I believed about her, about us. Was she always this manipulative? Had I missed the signs? Or was she just a master liar from the start? The betrayal felt like a punch to the gut every single day. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't yet know what that was. All I knew was that I couldn't let her get away with destroying my life and my future. The legal situation got uglier by the day. My wife was relentless in her attempts to paint me as the bad guy. She hired her own lawyer, and suddenly I was dealing with a team of attorneys trying to unravel her scheme. She filed that bogus lawsuit claiming I stole $200, $0, an outright lie, and I knew I had to fight back with everything I had. But I was clueless about legal procedures, and her lawyer was good at spinning stories. She kept insisting I was trying to ruin her, that I was a thief, and that she had every right to sell the house and take the money. I started digging into her financial records, trying to find any proof of her lies. That's when I discovered she'd been secretly transferring money into accounts under her sister's name. She was hiding her assets, probably planning to disappear with everything. I also found out she'd been talking to a real estate agent behind my back, arranging to have the house sold without my knowledge or consent. She had even gone so far as to forge my signature on some documents, trying to make the sale legitimate. Meanwhile, she kept up her lies, telling everyone I was the one stealing from her, that I was violent and untrustworthy. She was good at spinning stories, but I had proof, screenshots, bank records, even her own emails admitting she was moving money around. It was clear she was trying to set me up as the villain so she could walk away with everything. I felt like I was losing my mind. Every day brought a new revelation, another betrayal. I was angry, hurt, and confused. I wanted to believe there was some way out of this mess. But I couldn't see it. I was stuck in a nightmare where the woman I loved was actively destroying me, and I was powerless to stop her. I started to think about what I had to do to protect myself and my inheritance. I knew I couldn't just sit back and let her take everything. I had to fight for what was rightfully mine, even if it meant going against her and her lies. That realization hit me hard. I had to become the one fighting dirty because she was already doing it. I couldn't let her get away with it all. I started drafting plans, gathering evidence, and preparing for a battle that I knew would be long and brutal. I didn't want to lose everything, especially my inheritance, my future, and what was left of the trust I once had in her. The worst part was knowing she was doing all this just to fund her affair and keep Jake happy. That's what made it all so bitter: her greed, her lies, her betrayal. The legal battle dragged on, and I quickly realized that I was in way over my head. This lawyer was savvy, and she kept throwing curveballs, motions to dismiss, countersuits, and sneaky legal tricks designed to stall and confuse me. Meanwhile, kept up her act, claiming I was the one trying to steal her money, that I was the manipulator, the one with the shady past. It was like fighting a ghost. She was everywhere and nowhere all at once. I hired my own lawyer, a no-nonsense guy who told me I had a strong case but that I needed to be strategic. The biggest challenge was proving that I'd secretly sold the house and was hiding assets. I had to dig up every shred of evidence, bank statements, email exchanges, signed documents, and present it convincingly in court. It was exhausting, but I knew I had to do it if I wanted any chance of reclaiming my inheritance and stopping her from taking everything. One of the turning points was when I managed to get a court order to freeze her accounts. That's when she freaked out. She called me all kinds of names, accused me of trying to ruin her life, but I knew I was doing this to protect what was left of my future. I also discovered she'd been trying to sell the house to an acquaintance at a below-market price, probably to get rid of it fast and cover her tracks. I reported that, and the court issued an injunction to stop the sale. The emotional toll was brutal. I'd wake up every morning feeling like I was fighting a battle I couldn't win. I was angry, betrayed, and exhausted. I kept thinking about how she lied to me for months, how she manipulated everyone around her, including her own family. I felt like I'd been living a lie, trusting someone who was capable of such deception. Sometimes I'd sit alone and wonder if I'd ever recover from this, if I'd ever be able to trust again. But amidst all the chaos, I also started to see a glimmer of clarity. I realized I wasn't just fighting for money or property. I was fighting for my dignity, my sanity, and my future. I couldn't let her get away with this. I had to stand up and fight for what was rightfully mine, no matter how dirty she played. I knew that the road ahead would be long, and the scars of her betrayal would stay with me, but I was determined to see it through. I had to win, not just for the inheritance, but to prove to myself that I wasn't going to be crushed by her lies and manipulations. In the end, all the legal battles, lies, and betrayals culminated in a courtroom where I finally had my day. It was a long, grueling process, months of gathering evidence, fighting her lawyers, and trying to stay afloat emotionally. But I had one thing on my side that she didn't: the truth. When the judge finally made his ruling, it was clear she had been caught red-handed. The court ordered her to return the money from the house sale, and the bogus lawsuit was dismissed. Her attempts to smear my name fell apart under the weight of the facts. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. I'd won the fight, but I knew I'd never fully get back what was lost: trust, peace of mind, that sense of security. My marriage was over, and honestly, I felt a profound sense of betrayal that cut deeper than any legal victory could mend. Still, I was grateful that I'd managed to protect my inheritance, my future, and myself from her scheme. Looking back, I realize how much I underestimated her capacity for deception. She was willing to sell our home, lie about everything, and even manipulate the legal system, all to fund her affair and keep Jake happy. It's hard to admit, but I learned that sometimes the people closest to us can turn out to be the biggest enemies. I also learned a lot about myself, about resilience, about standing up for what's right, and about not letting someone else control your life through lies and betrayal. Now I'm rebuilding. I've moved out of that house, started fresh, and I'm slowly putting this nightmare behind me. It's not easy, but I know I'm stronger than I thought. My advice to anyone in a similar situation: trust your instincts, gather your evidence early, and don't be afraid to fight for what's yours. People can surprise you, sometimes for the worst, and you have to be ready to stand your ground, even when everything seems against you. Most importantly, never lose sight of your own worth. No amount of betrayal can take that away unless you let it. I've learned that the hard way, but I'm finally starting to believe in myself again. No matter how dark things get, there's always a way out. And sometimes the truth is the only thing that can set you free.